Christopher Columbus got a raw deal, so to speak. His discovery led to legal battles and malicious claims to vindicate his character, because he was obviously more humane and kind towards the native population than many of his peers, and extremely ambitious for prestige. I do think the modern, deep-seated aversion towards him does not rise from anti-colonial ideology that is dumbed down for the masses, but it's actually continuation of the English and the French belittling of his discovery of America. Jealousy is a sin. If you have read his diary of the first voyage, then you get a very different perspective towards the man. I wonder why his diary is not part of the school curriculums in North and South America. Columbus is continuously awestruck by the beautiful nature and its habitants, the beautiful and kind Indians that have populated this Garden of Eden, and he forbids his crew to exploit these beautiful people, although he is in quite hurry to find gold to prove himself to the Spanish crown. But his description of the native population is very positive. This diary must be the main source for the noble savage myth that became the big talking point during the Enlightenment era. While reading the diary, you realize that there are no more native population in the Caribbeans, where Columbus sailed 600 years ago during the first voyage. They traded their future for glass bubble without a care. It is really interesting to read about people who vanished so suddenly. But who is this vigorous Columbus that spent 6 years campaigning in different courts to get funding for his journey and spends most of his diary bootlicking the Spanish crown that finally gave him a chance? His origin is shrouded in mystery, but theory that he might have been a converso is quite modern one, and does not rise from the libel that he faced during his lifetime. Conversos were Jews who converted into Catholics during the Spanish Inquisition instead of facing death, and some continued their Jewish ways of life. The evidence against Columbus is quite shaky. In the diary of his first voyage, he mentions the Jews first time when he lists how the Spanish queen has done so many great deeds for the Catholic Church, like expelling the Jews. That was happening during his voyage. During the long voyage to the unknown, he makes a reference to his crew, how they are like the Jews who are expelled from the Egypt. Then we hear about Luis de Torres, a converso, who Columbus notes as a Jew who is fluent in Hebrew, Chaldaic, and Arabic. Luis de Torres is part of a two-man expedition to get into contact with the Great Khan, because Columbus obviously thought that he was in Asia. It is notable that he lists so many traits for this man, while the other one's merits are more unknown to the reader. Why does he underline that this man is Jewish? The two men didn't discover the Great Khan, of course, but they did witness the native population smoking tobacco leaves. Luis de Torres is also listed as one of the men who are left behind to the fortress of La Navidad, so he perished under mysterious conditions. I also read about DNA test that was done to the sons of Columbus, but I think that one is a bunk. Most of people living in the Mediterranean coastline are J2 haplogroup that can be easily linked to many Jewish rabbi lines, but that connection goes all the way to the Stone Age. I think all of this circumstantial evidence takes away from the lines in the diary that paint him as very devout Christian. Sundays are rest days, not Saturdays. When they hit one of the worst storms on the way back to Spain, they make promises to light candles in altars, additional fasts, and do pilgrims for the glory of the God. They actually cast lottery 2 times to see who would have to make the pilgrim, and both times it is Columbus that gets the short straw. Very interesting.